You have a closed mind. I don't know why. Perhaps you could tell me.
You are now listening to the Latino Free Mind podcast. Enjoy the show.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Latino Free Minds. We're at episode 107. Took a few weeks off for health reasons, work reasons, family reasons, a lot of stuff going on. But I'm here with Danny and Christian. Danny, how you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. It's been a minute since we've done this, but like you said, things have been pretty busy.
Yeah, man.
But there's a lot going on out there in the world.
For sure. Christian's been as a matter of fact, Christian's been busy on Don't Mind Us. So this episode is going live on the LFM page and Don't Mind Us. So it'll be a mix. So if it goes off the rails, it's that side. So Christian,
Hey man, how's it going?
good, dude. Where's Gio?
Oh man, hopefully not near any volleyball courts.
I don't think Daddy heard about that one.
Oh man,
What happened at the
Eddie, you might
volley-
have to pay $1.
He
No,
got-
Never
man.
mind. I don't need to know.
No, dude, our boy Gio just carried out on a volleyball court, but he's all right. He's cool. He's got it.
carrying down.
What he was
Both parties are safe.
Yeah.
he was refereeing or what? Or he's a parent.
He needed a referee in between them. No, it just got rowdy. It just got rowdy at the community volleyball park.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, he got
Dude, it gets intense, dude. But community stuff, that's why communism doesn't work, dude. Because you got to share shit. You can't share shit at a park and have fun. You can't call claimsies either, apparently, Gio. Yeah.
yeah. So Gio, wherever you are, if you're watching live, drop a comment, defend yourself, or whatever. But yeah, no, Gio and Christian they've been at it on Don't Mind Us. So if you haven't tuned into that one, it's on Patreon. Only costs $1 a month. There's free episodes, free portions that you could tune in. But if you want full episodes, you gotta pay that super price tag of $1. So,
That's inflation.
that's inflation, dude. If it
That's-
wasn't for
that's-
Joe Biden,
that's-
it'd be 25 cents.
Tariffs. Tariffs.
But yeah, hit up Patreon, don't DMU podcast, and sign up. It's a pretty fun
But
show.
if we wanted to purchase that in China, how much would it be?
Ooh, what is it? Like 142? So it'd be 142 more. So $2.42 if you're in China.
Mhm.
But sorry, some orange juice.
We just stamp it over here.
Yeah. Or you can chill and we can get back to $1 for everybody. Reciprocal. But no, man, it's been busy, at home, at work. Like I said last week, I was pretty sick most of the week, so I couldn't really talk as much. Or else I probably would have done the show with the Don't Mind Us show with Gio on Friday. But yeah, I was sick last week and then just busy, but we'll be back at it. I mean, I was thinking about kind of what we like, I guess what I hope we can accomplish these next 2 years with the midterm election and the governor race here in California. So, we'll kind of get back to Know Your Candidate, Fighter Series. Got a new series in mind, couple new series in mind. So kind of the trying to get some current representatives on. That's like a newer series. So instead of just having people that are running for office, I'm gonna try to get people that are in office just so we can see what's actually happening. And then the other series is similar to the Fighter series. but I'm still working on the name because it's not going to be the fighter series. We'll still have that, but it'll be specific to California. So I'm working on that name. I like the name I got, but just want to make sure.
What, something like home front,
Home guard,
home guard? Oh, okay.
home guard. So a home guard is a person that stays to fight for their home when it's under attack. So I like I like home guard as basically the fighter series for Californians. So that's the idea. And yeah, hopefully, like I said, by the end of the next year, 2026, hopefully we have a cooler governor and we got all that stuff done, which I think we will. So, but yeah, thanks for everybody that's, tuned in and all that good stuff. So, anything you guys want to cover about while you were out? Just any other than, the stupid story of the day. Today's tax day. Unfortunately, the IRS was not abolished before today, so we had to do our taxes. That's my one complaint of the day. But I did wait till today to do them because, yeah,
I mean, it's interesting how is it other governors that are considering abolishing the taxes for the state taxes?
yeah, I've
Isn't the
seen that.
guy running that's going to be running for California? Isn't he proposing that?
Yeah, I saw that Chad Bianco said that he would. Uh, he's proposing eliminating state income tax, right?
Hmm.
So, which, eh?
How much of that would go into my wallet?
Hopefully, all of it, right?
Go back into my wallet.
We need to get rid of that. Gas taxes, maybe lower property taxes. Maybe not have to pay property taxes if you don't have
Well, that's
kids in
what I was
public
going to
school.
say. What year did they start implementing that? That it was only going to be temporary, and it ended up being permanent now.
Jeez. Let me see if I
We're
can.
talking about Gavin Newsom's emergency powers.
Let me see. When did taxes in America become permanent? Because I think it was recently, no? Well, recent history.
Yeah, recent history. Yeah.
Let's see. It says the federal income tax became a permanent fixture with the passage of the 16th Amendment. Let's fucking get rid of that. To the Constitution, which was ratified on February 3rd, 1913. So, little, what, 110?
13
Is it
years,
113 years? Yeah.
12.
So, new. Couple, couple people ago, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what? Look up property taxes. That's even more recent.
It's all 2 days ago. Let's see. Hmm. Do, do, do. It just says by the 19th century, property taxes were universal and permanent fixtures across states. Let me see, specifically California. 1849. So property taxes has been around longer,
Mhm.
but too long if you ask me. Let's see. There's Geo. He didn't defend himself. He just stated the obvious. They are a violation. um,
Hey, what do you guys think about all these people that are going on TV, on shows, and trying to tell people like us, everyday people, that what Doge is finding and the wasteful money is only a fraction of the amount that we're being taxed, and they're
mm,
basically saying, "Shut up." There's really nothing to complain about. What do you guys think about that?
I'll let Kristen go first.
Oh, it just makes me mad to see that, we're getting upset we should be getting upset about our money getting spoiled. somewhere else, and they're finding out, and apparently they're big daddy on big government. You know, again, they want to be taken care of them by them. What do you expect? They would get mad.
Yeah, no. I think yeah, like I agree with Christian. It's upsetting because I don't care how small they might try to play it off to be. I don't have I think Doge is well, I'm gonna check right now to see how many billion they've recovered. But um saved, let's say $155 billion. And then right now they have it at $962 per taxpayer. So let's say me and my wife pay taxes, you're looking at $1,900 right there or so, give or take. I would love to have an extra $1,900. You know what I mean? I don't care how small or insignificant they might think it is. You know, it's easy for someone in gets probably paid a bunch of money to be in media
Hmm.
to say, hey, that's nothing. Maybe for them it's not, but everyday people, that's a lot of money. So I you know I think that's one of those things that's upsetting to hear people say that, because even though they might think it's a small amount, it's still a lot to some people.
Well, it's those people that don't live in the reality, right? I mean, I think I've said it before a long time ago. I've driven around like in Occidental over here in California, and all of them had Harris Waltz, the big posters or whatever. And I mean, these were homes that had mile long driveways, to the front door, gate codes and all that. And when are they coming out of their big giant mansions? So it's kind of like a little reverse. I don't
Hmm.
know. That's just something I noticed.
What do you think, Danny?
I think a lot of these people they understand what the game is. They understand that they get paid out of those funds that get taken out, and that's how they make a living. And in order to keep us, oblivious to what's really going on, they're still trying to gaslight us into thinking that it's not a big deal.
Hmm.
But it is infuriating. It does make a lot of people angry. I think it doesn't make people angry enough. And the reason that I ask you guys that question is because I feel like people don't get upset enough. I feel like they really don't understand the magnitude, um, of the impact that money would benefit citizens here in the United States. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say, for example, that they still taxed us on that money, which I think they shouldn't. But you hear about all the natural disasters that we've had over the years. I would love to see the people in Hawaii, get their community restored. Uh, Even in LA, even though it was, a wealthy area, but the point is that we need it here. So if it's going to
Hmm.
be spent, spend it here. That's number one, and that's with me saying that I would not want to be taxed. Now, if we didn't get taxed because all that money is going to waste and it's funding these rich people already,
Hmm.
um, as consumers, we would keep more of the money and it would be circulating in um, just the economy, period. And it would just create more wealth for everybody. Right now, just like in the industry that I work in, there's all the industries are suffering right now. We're struggling. It's creating a lot of stress. And you know what? The one of the biggest reasons that families fall apart, marriages split up, is economic stress.
Mm.
So just think about it. Not only economic stress is causing families to break up, but it's also preventing young adults or even middle-aged adults wanting to get married, whether you're a woman or a man. You don't want to have kids, you can't buy a house,
Guilty.
and you it people don't think that far into it to see how it's affecting society on a daily basis. So that's why when I think about it that way, it really pisses me off. And for the life of me, I don't understand why other people don't see that reality or don't think about things in that depth. But they just kind
Mm.
of go, it's not that big of a deal, brush it off. It's a fraction of what people get, taxed. It's not a big deal. And the part that bothers me is that when they go on podcasts or shows or anything like that, and they blurt out these comments, no one calls them out. No one
Mm.
calls them out at all. They kind of just gloss over it and everything. And I'm like, no, you don't understand what we could be doing here. We could be feeding the hungry here. We're having a food drive at my company in
Hmm.
the next month, and they kind of laid out all the numbers of hungry children, families in need, and that shouldn't exist in America with all the money that we pay out.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. And that's the thing, like you said, yeah, people don't get mad enough. Um, and
And I
you
don't
know,
even know if it's mad. It's like, what's the proper word?
Well, Danny, I'd like to say how many people actually know. You said how are people not mad enough, but is it being brought up enough? The good work that good old Doge is doing. Every time I see it get brought up on when I'm changing through the channel on KTBU or whatever, it's just bad stuff about Doge. Oh, Elon Musk sent a 13-year-old into this, and then they locked everybody out, and then it just shows Chuck Schumer tied or handcuffed to the thing, protesting with somebody with a team. So I don't know who, you know, but do, how are they being projected? Where, on because even if you go, you're privy to Twitter or X, or whatever. That's a certain demographic. You got a lot of trolls on there that'll just m- hyperventilate, all the bad stuff. And again, I those just isn't getting no one's cutting them any slack.
yeah, I mean, I think it could be that, and then obviously, Elon does own X, so maybe people avoid it because a lot of the Doge information does drop there most of the time. But at the same time, like when I was talking, when I was looking up how much they've saved, that 155 billion, I could just go to Doge.gov,
Hmm.
and it has all the savings, everything that it's pretty transparent if you go through the site and see exactly what they're saving money from. But I think it does have to do with people maybe being misinformed about it. And like you were saying, Danny, they go on podcasts, or they go on the news, and they downplay it as, "Hey, it's not a big deal. We shouldn't be making such a fuss out of this. We don't have to cancel this and that and this and that." And you know Elon's a Nazi or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain people that you know still kind of believe what they see on the news. So yeah, I
But
don't think that
but
it
let,
gets
let me
a
let me put it to you
fair
guys in this context right
assessment.
here. Is Trump won the the popular vote, right?
Hmm.
So that means that a lot of adults, voting age. What would we say? Half of them, or
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah, about
they're more likely to believe and understand the waste and everything, right?
right.
So with that being said, don't you think that those people would have that level of understanding to think into that the way that I just explained?
I think the people that voted for Trump, yes, but at the same time, it's like, you know, 70, what was it, 75, 4 billion people, or 74 million, sorry, people still voted for Kamala. You know what I mean? So I think it's mostly those people that, you know, if they're real, gotta throw that out there. Those people are the ones that they, for, we've always said it, they're just the loudest ones. You know what I mean? They're louder than we are, and sometimes that's a detriment to us and what we're trying to accomplish or get accomplished, right? With Trump in office, like I was saying earlier, it's like, damn, I still had to do my tax because, IRS wasn't abolished still. Something I would love to get, to happen, to come to reality. But
Oh,
um, yeah, it's, I can
we're
I can
done.
dream. I can dream, right? Um, there's still that many people, and I think they're loud. They're gonna stay loud. And unfortunately, their leadership, the people that they follow, um, they're still kind of doubling down or tripling down on things that nobody want. You know what I mean?
Well, they're so used to playing the game and punching below the belt. That's their game, you know?
But remember what
Mm,
I was telling you guys, that after now that Kamala lost, that they were going to start moving more to the center.
mm-hmm.
So, who was the one person that everybody was thinking that was going to be running for president and he was going to step in for Biden? It was
Daniel's boy.
My boy
So,
Newsom.
yeah, now he's out there, and I just see clips and I hear what I'm being told, but that he's trying to, sound more like a conservative nowadays than before.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now I just saw a clip of Bill Maher after he's gone to have dinner with Trump. Now he's speaking well of him. We've heard about the Young Turks. They're kind of moving more center, also. So they're making the adjustment, and they're making the adjustment. They're gonna make the play. But what people need to remember is when they start sounding like they're using more common sense nowadays, when it comes time when they come back into power, it's going to flip back over to the other side again. And they're going to go back to their hyper progressive views again, and they just realize that people aren't asleep anymore, and they're trying to get us back to sleep by sounding more normal.
Mm.
um, you know Kind of
Yeah.
catering to what the crowd wants right now.
Yeah, no, and because I think I did an episode with Gio, what, like 2, 3 weeks ago, I think. And that's one thing that it came up with Newsom, and him podcasting, doing his podcast now and all that. And I said, yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't stream it because, hey, I don't want to give him a stream. I'm petty like that. But it's all, to me, it's all fake. It's just for show, right? Kind of like what you're saying. Just trying to look like the moderate, the guy that's a little level headed. I don't know if he's going to convince any quote unquote Republicans to vote for him, but to me, it's all fake. So, but that, yeah, he is doing that. I think that's his goal, and I think that plays into him. He's gonna run in 2028, like that. I feel like that's for sure. I don't know
Which
who
is
else,
well,
but that's for
AOC
sure.
is making that push too with old man Bernie. They're getting 35 of the same 1,000 followers following them around.
Hmm.
Is it even? I thought it was 3,500.
Whatever number it is, it's the same people at the same crowd,
35,000 is kind of a
prevalent.
lot.
Yeah, who knows, man? I mean, mm, I don't. But what is Bernie and AOC saying though? Because
Socialism.
because yeah, because supposedly the the story is, yeah, they're getting 35,000 people out to events, right? Which, I mean, I don't know, I didn't count them, but that's what they say. But my thing would be like, okay, what is it that they're running on exactly? You know, maybe that's where I gotta like check it out and see what it is they're saying. You know what I mean? Um,
Well, at the
but,
same
but I
time,
don't know.
it's that dirty game we're talking about, that punch below the waist. They're finding out by using all the data that's it's the same people at the same parades or whatever you wanna call them, the rallies, you
Mm.
know? They're able to figure out that they're just traveling around, and we saw it when Kamala used them, you know? And then abused them by telling them, "Hey, if a lot of you guys come, you might see Beyoncé sing." And all she did was say a couple of words, and, yeah, still using it, though. Still using that trick.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, um, look, and I know what you guys are referencing. So what they did is like with the cell phones, the geofencing or whatever, they identified, the people by their cell phones. So these people were out in BLM protest, Hamas protest, or protesters. Um, in so people in favor of Hamas. These are the same people that were out. Um, who else? So they had BLM, the Hamas. So some of them were the ones in the college. Oh, and in the rallies, the presidential rallies. So they're just bussing around the same people from different states, bouncing them around, following them with their little groupies, their little tour and stuff like that. But honestly, guys, we know that's not gonna work.
Hmm.
I mean, it didn't work last time around. So,
Popular vote.
Mm.
mm, but I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I mean, what can they run on? You know, people have been talking about, Trump is making a big deal about the China and the tariffs and this trade war. And at the same time, in the same breath, they're going, yeah, someone had to call them out because they had been abusing us. So at the same time that they're saying that, there's no one else that would have brought that up. They would have allowed China to continue to do the same thing over and over and over. And this is my opinion, is that there's a lot of wealthy people. When I say wealthy, it's like the ultra rich that have
Hmm.
these businesses where they're, you know, taking advantage of the deals with China, the cheap labor and stuff like that, where they can, get their products made so that they can sell them over here.
Hmm.
Um, that's the only reason that it makes sense, is that, you know, we wouldn't tariff them, charge them high tariffs to bring their products in here. How in the world does that make any sense? The only way that it makes sense is that there's the lobbyists that are in government making those deals so that when they go get the products made for cheap in a different country, China, and then they come and bring them in to import them, they don't get charged.
Hmm.
So what people don't understand, and this is what I've been trying to tell people in conversation, is that everybody thinks that this war that Trump is having is with China, but it's not just with China. It's with the ultra wealthy people. And then these pundits, these people that go on TV shows and podcasts, are saying that we, the consumers, are the ones that are going to suffer and Trump is hurting us. When in reality, he's fighting the ultra rich. We're the ones that are going to benefit here in the United States with more jobs.
Hmm.
The economy is going to flourish. And for the life of me, I don't understand why people don't seem to grasp that concept.
Mm.
Danny, sometimes don't you feel like there's been a little bit of more of psyops? You know, like I've been seeing. Well, Daniel, you're probably on TikTok a lot, um,
Yeah, right.
but but I've been seeing on on X. these like Chinese um what factory guys or suppliers, vendors saying they build the same bags as Gucci and all that. They just get stamped in Italy and it makes them official. And like how true is that? Am I falling for that too? Are they lying to me? Am I gonna buy one of their handbags and it just does say Gucci, but it's still cheap leather. But people are falling for it, you know?
Mm.
What's that about?
Yeah, well, kind of to Danny's point. Um, so I kind of looked up real quick, like what are AOC and Bernie Sanders like? What's their message, right? In these rallies, and their main thing is fighting the oligarchy, right? So opposing oligarchy and billionaire influence, and that's against Elon Musk, right? But I've never heard them complain about George Soros, so this is kind of weird.
But
Um,
don't even go too far. Elon Musk was on their side. So it was
yeah,
okay when Elon Musk was on their side and backing them.
yeah,
Bezos, when Bezos was backing them, right?
right.
Well,
Zuckerberg and all that.
well,
Yeah. Zuckerbucks. So it's all good when
Hmm.
they've got the support on their side. Now
Hmm.
there's only an issue when the support flips, and don't get it wrong. All these people are flipping because they know who's going to butter their roll, and it's us, the consumers. They found out that the majority of the population supported Trump. So they said, we need to flip the script
Hmm.
because these are the people that are going to buy our products. They're going to consume our products, and we have to make the switch.
Hmm.
They ain't
And
stupid. They're
yeah,
not. They're not ultra wealthy for no reason.
yeah. And the second point is economic populism and working class advocacy. So basically, because you said, right, you said Trump is working against the ultra rich, right? And their second point is the greed of the top 1%. So it's like, in a sense, it's like that's what Trump is trying to do, but actually doing it versus when they've talked about, you know, billionaires paying their fair share and whatever, phrase they want to put to it. It's like, well, you know, we're kind of on that path already. You know what I mean? Like because
Yeah,
that's sort of the stuff Trump's trying to do. So everything basically they're running on is anti-Doge, which is protecting social programs, um, resistance to Trump, immigration and social justice. So it's all things that honestly just get people's emotion, right? You tell them all their social platforms, all their social programs are going to go away. The people that rely on those in the government are going to be upset. They're going to go protest because they don't want to lose that. And then you add immigration to it, that everything that's happening is bad, and sending innocent people to El Salvador or whatnot, even though he's an illegal immigrant that was a gang member, and they want him back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just their platform is anything that's opposite of what
they're
is
dumb.
happening now.
They're dumb and they think you're dumb. You know? It's Daniel, I hate this camera, dude. I hate Don't show my beautiful window over here. No,
In case
they,
someone sneaks up, dude, I could be like the guy in the window.
I got the toaster right here, dog. No, man, they think you're dumb because again, man, down with the oligarchy.
Hmm.
Knowing Gavin Newsom is blue blood. How many of this? How many people in the Senate are millionaires? Whether that's Republican or Democrat or whatever. The 1%, they're all sitting on those seats, man. So
It's all of them.
they eat themselves up.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, their platforms just to me, it's just anything anti-Trump, anything anti-Doge. That's what we're gonna run with, and that's what they've been running with. That's why you get people, vandalizing Teslas, burning Teslas, and It's just what do you call it? A reaction to the person that they hate right now.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's we'll see. I don't think they're. I don't know. I just don't think they're gonna learn. I don't think there's enough Democrats that are level headed enough to. I think there are some that are trying to be a little level headed, but like sincerely. But I just think there's too many.
No, it's an act. That's the problem. Is that
Mm,
they're not sincere. They're not genuine. It's an act. So some it, in some podcasts, you know, people that support the left or progressive ideas, they'll ask them straight up, like, who's a standout in your party? Who's a leader in your party? They
mm,
have no one. No one that would stand out. Dude, if they're pushing out AOC as a presidential candidate, I think they did a poll and she came out ahead of Obama. Um, dude, they're in trouble.
mm.
That party, as far as a lot of people are concerned, it's pretty much dead. They have no one. They need to come up with someone quick. They need to start, flipping the script real quick, kind of like how Bill Maher did. And people that are smart, they're actually, you know, trying to fake us out and trying to stay relevant that way. But I just think that they have absolutely no freaking talent whatsoever.
And it's funny that you mentioned that they have no representation because I was listening to Joe Rogan. I don't know who he was talking to, but he was talking to somebody, and somebody did a poll about who the Democrats think is a good, not fatherly figure, but a good role model for men or whatever. And the best that they could come up with was Boromir, some guy from Lord of the Rings. You know, and they were making fun of him because they couldn't pick a real person that represented their views, right?
Not even LeBron James.
Yeah, no, because it's hard. There's no way you could teetotal walk that line where you care about the gays, you care about the planet, you care and really throw it down. You care about Native Americans. You gave away your house because you're on their land technically. There is no representation because it's so hard to be what they want you to be. They eat each other. They'll kick you out. They'll if you do something that's not part of that party.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Again, the guy's up. Who did Trump bring in? A bunch of people, levas that left the Democrats. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
it's
The
crazy.
the Republican Party of present day is the Democratic Party of the 60s,
Yeah,
yeah.
early 60s.
Hmm.
That's insane.
yeah, that is, man. But we'll see how it all plays out. We got midterms next November. Shit, it's middle of April. We say it all the time. The year flies by. Um, so we'll be voting again in no time, and we'll see how it all shakes out. What kind of stories are happening? What kind of things people are outraged at the time. So it's constantly moving. So it's kind of one of those things where you gotta see how it all plays out. I guess you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
combat it as it happens. But we'll see. We'll see what's up. But so there's a couple stories I wanted to like a few stories I wanted to talk about. Um, so the first one is I didn't know too much about this Trevor Kirk thing, and I looked it up. Did you get a chance to look it up?
Yeah, I looked it up that day that you brought it to my attention.
Okay, so I looked it up that day, and it's funny because like the news stories aren't super accurate, right? Which is Shocking. Um,
That's accurate. That they're not accurate.
so so Trevor Kirk, he's a deputy in Southern California, and he was responding to a robbery. I mean, you know I missed this, so I'm pretty sure a lot of other people missed this as well. But he was responding to a robbery. He basically responded to it, went there, and the lady was recording, had her phone out. Um, he knew her as the suspect. That it was a robbery, a male and female. The female had already hit people at the store, and I think spit on people, something like that. Um, so he's a deputy showing
Yep.
up into a tense situation, right? To a hostile situation. Um, you know, Probably doesn't know what's fully going on. What sort of threat level there is. They don't find out until they get there. So he basically, the woman gets handled, right? She gets pepper sprayed, and now he's being charged with violation of civil right laws. So basically, I guess because she was recording, um he violated the First Amendment, her First Amendment, and then because he detained her and pepper sprayed her, he violated the Fourth Amendment, which is what is it, Fourth Amendment due process. I'm going blank right now, but he supposedly violated that stuff. So he's facing 10 years. So his case to, I think, to move on and see if he will get sentenced is on the 21st. They're hoping that the judge just drops the case, but I don't know. I think it's crazy because I was looking up like how long would, let's say, if, because at the time that law wasn't in place, where it was, where if you stole over 900 or under $900, you basically, you're let go. So it was during that time. Um, and even if they were to have gotten charged with something and, let's say, sentenced, the most they could get is like 6 months and some fines. So you know it's crazy because this guy doing his job as a police officer responds, and then he ends up with potentially getting a sentence of 10 years over a crime. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's happening here in California. Like, what do you guys think about that? I thought it was, I think, to me, it's like just that comparison about, like, okay, let's say if they would have charged these people with the crime, they would have got 6 months if they got locked up max. And the cop that's responding to it, even if they say he's too rough, let's whatever, 10 years, like, I don't, yeah, that's excessive. I feel like it's just okay. They're trying to make an example out of him. That's kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah. But I think the way that I found out about it and I looked into it is a perfect example. And I'll explain why. So you through text you sent the group chat about this case, right?
Hmm.
I hadn't heard anything about it or anything like that, right?
Yeah, me either.
So I said I'm gonna look into it. I type it in on the phone, a couple of videos pop up. I watch the videos. If I watch the videos, I do see, the male being apprehended, and it seems like everything's going okay. He's cooperating, he's not resisting arrest or anything like that. Then they go towards the woman. The woman's recording, right?
Hmm.
And they take her down, they slam her on the floor, and they're trying to put her in handcuffs. They're trying to apprehend her. So initially, the way that the video was being laid out in the broadcasters, because it was a clip off of a news station, the way that they were explaining everything, it looked like they were just going after an innocent bystander that
Hmm.
happened to be recording the incident with the male.
Hmm.
Then I get the important details that the police officers were responding to a call, a robbery in progress. theft in progress, or however you say it, at a supermarket. And the lady was getting physical. One of the suspect, it was a female and a male, and the female was getting physical with some of the staff at the supermarket. With that tidbit of information, now I can see why they went after the lady to apprehend her, to arrest her, because she
Mhm.
was a suspect.
Mhm.
But the way that it was being presented and the way that I saw the video originally without knowing that information, it looked like they were going after a woman that was recording the incident.
Mhm.
Without those important details, and what a coincidence that it always happens this way, is that
Mhm.
when you get all the details, then it makes sense why they were trying to arrest her.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the way that she was responding like an innocent bystander, like she didn't do anything wrong.
Mhm.
Mm. Mhm.
Jesse Jackson be there.
Or
Okay.
L. Sharpton or whatever his name
No,
is.
did I get it confused?
Yeah,
They're
Jesse
the
Jackson is
same
from
thing.
way back, but
It's Jesse.
Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Um, no, I mean, and that's what when I had said when we started talking about this was how the news stories weren't accurate. It's because every news story does paint it as innocent bystander that got thrown down and maced, or I mean, or pepper sprayed, whatever. But it's like, dude, like the problem too is people think that okay, yeah, you have a right to record, fine, fucking take your camera out, record, do what you want to do. But let's
I
say she
suggest
was,
something.
yeah, yeah,
The, the officers have body cam. I saw
yeah,
one video with body cam, and
mm-hmm,
then the other video was from the lady's phone.
mm-hmm,
I mean, they could suspect that it's off or whatever the case may be, but we live in the day and age where if she
hmm,
wasn't recording, someone else was recording, or a video camera
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah,
recording somewhere else.
yeah,
But the point that we can't lose sight of is there was two suspect, a female and a male.
mm-hmm,
She was a suspect.
yeah, yeah.
That changes everything.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. But what I'm saying is like how they paint it as innocent bystander, even though she
Mhm,
wasn't.
mhm,
It's like, let's say she was, right. It's like the way that she was interacting with the police officer. If she was just an innocent bystander, it's like she's antagonizing. She's making the situation worse. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Just because
mhm.
you're recording, you have the right to record, doesn't give you the right to be an asshole and make the situation worse. So, if you're gonna record for whatever reason, right? If you think something bad's gonna happen and you want to fucking record, stay back. Don't get in the way. If you're not a suspect, don't get in the way.
Well, you said the key word because it's like you're a suspect and you're like, hold on, let me record this.
Yeah, you should bounce, lady. What are
Yeah,
you talking about?
yeah. But I just think again, he's responding to the call, robbery in progress. He's doing his job. You know, um, what else was he supposed to do? Because
Well,
so, go ahead.
well, just what kind of how does this doesn't look good. We need cops as much as some people hate to say it. We do need them. And would you want to be a cop if you
Mhm.
might get 10 years for slamming a suspect down?
Mhm.
After she already spit on somebody.
And
Um,
oh, and here's the other thing I was told, because I was talking to a friend that is following it closer than we are. Um, when they had that initial trial, Trevor Kirk had a lot of local PD, local deputies, people that police the community, you know, sitting behind him, supporting him. And one of the key things is this case was brought up with Biden's DOJ. And from what I was told is the people that were on that side were all new FBI agents showing support for
get on it,
punishing this
Cash.
guy. So yeah, Cash,
Get on it, Cash.
Bill Asaley, he's the new U.S. uh, 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 helping out here in California, look into that. Trump, whatever. But my point is, like, they got random federal agents to support this prosecution,
Mhm.
and all the local police that police that community were in support of Trevor. So yeah, I think to me that says a lot too. And again, the sentence that they're trying to pin him with 10 years max, I think that's excessive. I mean, even honestly, dude, even if he was wrong, even if she was an innocent bystander, 10 years, that's
Is she
that's
getting charged
crazy.
or something? Are they getting charged with anything?
Probably not. No, I don't think they got charged with anything because the laws were a little different. We
Oh,
changed
this
that.
is.
This is
Mm.
prior to voting for, that change
Mhm.
in theft. Um, but I hope this guy gets a fair trial. You know what I mean? I hope they don't, you know, I hope they don't send him to prison for 10 years. I hope that if that sentence does go through, other people, like you were saying, Cash, Trump, whoever, because it is a federal thing, I guess,
Bandy.
um, you know, help this guy out because, again, even if he was absolutely wrong, even if he did that and it was really a bystander,
Sometimes we slam people.
10 years is way too much. That's that sounds like bullshit to me. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm be paying attention to it, and the guy has a family. Even like I said, even if it was, doesn't sound like he made a mistake. But like, just give him, let's say, play what do you call it? Was it
Devil's
devil's
advocate.
advocate or whatever?
Mhm.
And let's say it was. Let's say he fucked up, dude. 10 years. Like, still, does that sound fair to you?
Well, maybe they should get that judge that got that Carmelo Anthony guy cut by 75%. That we get him that judge. We might see some action.
Maybe, but that's kind of my one of my biggest issues with this too. It's just what they're trying to throw at him.
Look, there's several different issues going on right here. The way that it's being reported, that's number one. Um, the way that it's being handled um, by the judge, right?
Hmm.
The sentencing or the trial period. So that's number two. And this is number three, is that when people get caught up in these types of movements, okay, and I'm gonna call it a movement because they're trying to make a point. It was a white officer arresting um,
Hmm.
African American couple. It looked like they were a couple. When they get caught up on that, and they make a big commotion about this, they're ruining lives. And I'm gonna tell you what lives they're ruining. Number one, you said it. The officer has a family. Okay, it's
Hmm.
gonna ruin that family. Okay, people don't think about that. They don't think about the consequences. They don't think about the him, his siblings, mother, father, everybody on his side. Not only that, okay, I already said the kids.
Hmm.
Now community. The community is going to suffer because they're down an officer. That officer has to be replaced by someone else. Christian, you said it. Who's going to want to be an officer if that happens to you?
Not the
So
best.
exactly. So now you need to fill a position that you can't fill a position because they're, police officers are being judged in a way where they shouldn't even have to worry about. Yes, they have to conduct themselves professionally. They have to follow the rule of law because they are protecting the rule of law, right?
Hmm.
But no one's going to want to take that job. Now, If you have, and that's how the community is going to suffer and is suffering. No one's going to want to do their job. So check this out. This is the other side to it. If we want to get even deeper to it, this is going to embolden people to not follow the law
Mm-hmm.
even more. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been happening the past 4 years with the Biden administration. No law and order. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have someone in the family that's going to be a police officer. Now, their family, specifically wife and kids, mother, father, siblings, all of the family are going to worry about him or her
Mm-hmm.
going out and just doing their regular job, because maybe when they do their job and didn't do anything wrong, they end up with a sentence of 10 years.
Mm.
So if you're one of those people that are blindly, just because your side is saying that this is wrong and he messed up, that's what you're advocating. All of those things happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when people do things like this and they support things like this, they have no idea the ripple effect that they're causing. And I don't know, I don't want to call them stupid, but they're just so short-sighted that they can't see those effects. It even comes back around to them.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it to you this way. So that couple, right, that was getting apprehended,
Shit.
they probably live in that community or near that community. If they get assaulted or their house gets broken into and they need a police officer to go into their house and protect them because of their BS, there's not going to be someone there to protect them. There's going to be someone like where I live, and they could be firing firearms in a distance for 2 hours nonstop, and police officers don't even want to go over there because they don't want to deal with that because of things like this. I I mowed my lawn, I pulled the weeds, um, I mowed the neighbor's lawn, I did all kinds of other stuff, and throughout that whole time, firearms were going off, fireworks, firearms, it was like a symphony going off the entire time I was doing that. But there's no law and order. That's what people are advocating for. And I don't want to hear not one of them complaining that police officers don't do anything, and when they're called out, they don't go out, they don't help anybody or anything like that, because that's what you were advocating. That's what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's the promoting of lawlessness. You know, you've seen, I forget, I don't know if it was in our group chat or somewhere, but I saw that, if I think business owners, if their business gets graffitied or something like that, they get a fine of $18,000. But the person graffitiing, they'll get a fine of like $500, $800. You know, that's that can't be. That can't
Mm-hmm.
be. Because that is promoting lawlessness. Who are you charging? Who are you coming after? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I saw that the people that were getting vandalized are being fined more than the people actually doing the vandalism. And that's the kind of shit we deal with here in California, right?
Don't cry on
With
me,
these
Daniel. I
cities.
know it's hard.
No, I think it's in Oakland. I don't live in Oakland. So um but that's just how fucking backwards things are. And
Hmm.
people have gotten to that point. It's crazy. But you know we'll see. We'll stay on top of this story. We'll follow it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully they're able to kind of come to their senses, have some little common sense, um hit them in the face, and this guy doesn't have to get sent away for
Slam
10
them.
years for trying to do his job. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to add on this story? So
No.
so the second story, I had a different one, but I changed it. So story number 2 is this one because I think it's important. Did you guys hear about the Save Act?
Mm-mm.
So that's the one where you have to show proof of citizenship in order to register to vote. So like
Mm.
you have to like so they passed it in the House, now it's going to the Senate. So basically, trying to fortify elections. And I think I'd have to double
Is
check
this
it.
the one that Green proposed? Or
Um let me see. Let me check real quick. But there were 4 Democrats that voted for it. Everybody else said no, we don't want that kind of uh
common
we don't,
sense?
yeah,
We
we
want
don't
the,
want that kind of common
we
sense.
really appreciate the Tranaguas and what they have to offer for the communities.
Let's see. Let's see who proposed this Save Act. Dun, 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 dun. But while that loads, I think it's a good step forward. What do you think? Because we talk about all the time, you know, voter the whole voting process having to get cleaned up. Um, yeah, it was introduced by Chip Roy. Is that who you said?
No, no.
Chip Roy and in the Senate, Mike Lee. So I think there has to be one in the Congress and one in Senate. So, uh, but what do you guys think of having something like this? And then I'll get like a brief summary of what it means.
I mean, I think this is what we should have had. I mean, it's like that. So, in order to vote, you have to be a citizen, and this is going to verify that you're a citizen so that you can vote.
Hmm. Yeah. So this is
Sounds like that should have been in place since people have been voting in this country.
yeah.
That's kind of like the
The
thing where it
first
says
ballot was cast. That's when it should have been implemented.
it's the little warning label on the Clorox bottle that says "Do not drink." Huh? I don't know.
Yeah. So here's the brief
Obviously, don't drink it.
the brief summary of the SAVE Act. So the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, introduced by Chip Roy and Mike Lee, aims to ensure only U.S. citizens vote in federal elections. Key provisions include proof of citizenship requires voters to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, passport, birth certificate when registering to vote. Voter roll maintenance mandates states to verify citizenship and remove non-citizens from voter rolls using federal databases. Penalties imposes fines and/or imprisonment for non-citizens who vote or officials who knowingly register non-citizens. Federal agency role directs agencies to provide states with citizenship data to verify voter eligibility. So that's basically what it is, and Democrats are claiming it disenfranchises eligible voters. I think right now the main thing that they've been saying, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, is that married women won't be able to vote now because the name on their birth certificate won't match their new name if they change their last name, which is fucking stupid because like they probably have an ID with their new name, so why would they take their birth certificate? I don't know, you know, but like I think what you guys said, right?
So,
I'm
so
If
you
gonna
don't
make my
think, so you don't think that they could get their marriage certificate?
bro, we went from minorities are too fucking stupid to get ID to women are too stupid to have proper documentation to go vote. Like that's where we're at now. So, apparently we're not stupid enough for that now. Now it's just women. Women are fucking, not gonna be able to vote.
In that case, I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to
but,
mess with them there.
but no, I think what Danny said, right? This is how it should have been from the beginning, from day one of voting, and it should have always stayed this way. Um, I think it's a common sense
Hey, Daniel. At,
law.
at this point, it's like they kind of want that handsmaid tale, huh? They really they wish that it would go down that way.
Oh yeah, that's
You know,
their
that's their biggest fear. But yet they look into everything and they try to reach for that outcome. This is what's gonna happen.
yeah,
Women are gonna lose their vote.
yeah. It's just the whatever they can use to instill fear in a certain group. They just
Half the
kind of
population.
they just kind of go to that. You know what I mean? So just assume, like you said, they're dumb, but assume everyone else is dumber.
Hmm.
So we'll see where that goes because that's one thing that hopefully, especially here in California, if we can get California to have you know voter checking IDs when you go vote, I think we got a whole different fucking story out here. Um, but we
everywhere.
yeah everywhere, but especially here, especially here in California, because we saw the shift of the state with no fucking voter verification. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if we are able to verify that you are actually eligible to vote? It'd be a whole new ball game out here. So you know,
Dude, I, man, I was just thinking about, when we all went to go vote and it was like you can tell who's gonna vote for Trump and you're kind of trying to make eye contact with them and go, I know what you're doing, brother. You know? But another thing that I saw now that you bring it up, man, I remember, people that I knew from the neighborhood, they were bringing out mom and pop, people I
Mhm.
knew that were bedridden for years, and I saw them pushing them to go vote. Like what is that? I I'm not complaining about old people voting, but it's just something that I saw, you know, abuse.
Jimmy Carter voted, so
That's what I'm saying, dude. Come on. What is he had months, right? So
days.
what how we share the same future, you know? You shouldn't be allowed to vote. I'm not gonna say that. I don't believe that. That was wrong. You can be as old as you want to vote.
But on Don't Mind Us.
You will get called gay.
But no, man, I think it's headed in the right direction, and we'll see how it all plays out. I think you know we said it many times: voter ID and cleaning up the voter rolls here in California. Just with those two things, maybe even just cleaning up voter rolls. Like I said, it's a whole another ball game. But
Mhm.
for obvious reasons, they don't want to do that. They fight hard against it, and you know, well, I think we kind of understand why. We could see why, but yeah, again, first minorities are too dumb to get ID. Now women aren't going to be able to vote, so it's just shifting. You know, after women figure it out, which I don't even think it's going to take that long. Um, they'll somebody else will be marginalized and picked on, and now this group of people is you know the 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 trans women aren't going to be able to vote because it says male on their ID.
And,
Some
and
bullshit.
I don't know.
They they ain't got no plan. They're all over
No,
the place.
they are. They
Yeah,
are.
yeah, because my fiance is dying to put my last name on her whatever documentation, And I tell her, no, keep my mom kept her last name, you keep yours. But now I'm gonna tell her you're gonna lose your vote if you do that. So yeah, maybe go ahead and keep, maybe go ahead and keep your name.
Mm, I don't know about that. Better change your last name.
Well,
We're gonna have
okay,
problems.
Daniel, Daniel. That's exactly what I'm saying. The ladies that are changing the name, they know
Mhm.
that's gonna be bullshit.
Yeah, yeah,
The ladies that want to change the name because they believe in a heterosexual marriage, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's a lie." You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
That's
That's what I'm saying. Like, women are gonna majority of women are probably not even. They're probably if they already heard of this, they probably say that shit's fucking stupid. But
Yeah.
again, they do have their group of people that no matter what they say, they kind of fall for it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Or react to it, whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it. But yeah, I think, like I said, step in a good direction. We'll see what it can do here in California for that, um, or to help that. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
I like it.
No, and
I
then they
like
have the real ID, right?
Yeah.
Did they postpone that again,
I
or
haven't got it.
No, it's supposed to be what, May 7th that it goes into effect.
I gotta show
oh,
my
really?
Comcast bill, my
So there's
social.
not there's the real ID and then the regular ID that's not a real ID.
The real ID, you can go out of state or country. I
Oh,
think you
okay.
go to Mexico and come back,
Yeah.
and you can buy
Well,
ammo with it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. So like I've seen people that that are upset at the real ID, like it's overreach.
Hmm.
Um,
Ooh, I hate overreach. Tell me why I should
uh,
hate the ID.
so real ID. So I hear people saying, it's bad, it's government overreach, just another thing to yada yada yada, right?
Did they
So, but
did
my
they
thing is,
bamboozle me?
no, no. So my thing is, here in California, they gave licenses to illegal immigrants.
Mm.
So there's no way to tell like if a
Oh, they're
license
trying to clean it up.
is for an illegal immigrant or a citizen, because we gave licenses to everybody,
So
right?
was that in high school when that happened, Daniel? When they started giving, when you was allowed to get a license, when they were allowed to get like,
That was like a good
because they
maybe
were driving illegally, right?
12, 13 years ago. Yeah, they were driving illegally,
Because
but
I
then
remember checkpoints were dang,
yeah.
dang.
So we gave licenses to everybody. It's basically a California ID to everybody. So I don't know if you look at yours, because if you guys don't have the real one yet, I had to get the real one like 4 or 5 years ago,
Yeah,
when I wanted to buy a gun. And the
yeah.
reason is because I don't know if you look at your guys's, if you don't have it yet, on the top right corner, it says federal limits apply.
Oh,
And it
mm-hmm,
says that I think it automatically had said that on everybody's.
mm-hmm.
So I had to go get it so that I could buy a firearm. So I went and did that. Now I have, I think it's like a logo of a bear with a star or something, and that's
See
how you
through
know.
bear.
That's how you know it's the real ID. But you know, yeah, like if you look at your ID and you haven't gotten that yet, your ID will more than likely say federal limits apply. And if you're a citizen, you know, why would you have any federal limits? So, and the problem was we gave licenses to everybody out here.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, I think it's gonna help clean that up. I don't know if you guys have heard of, like, kind of thought about it in that angle or heard about kind of that, but I think it's May 7th where you need the real ID to fly nationally here in the
It,
States.
it just makes me upset that because they messed up, I had to take a trip to the DMV now.
Pretty, pretty much. No, and it was like you said, right? You had to take a bill, like kind of proof of residency, your birth
Hmm.
certificate, all kinds of
A
different
witness.
documents to prove that you are who you are. Um, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think something like a real ID is like a overreach type thing, or because I'm kind of seeing people leaning that way? I kind of don't get it. I don't
Yeah,
see it as overreach. I mean, you still need a passport. I hear nobody crying about a
yeah.
passport. So I don't
It
know. What do you
makes
guys
me
think?
it makes me wanna feel too dumb to go get a real ID. I'm telling you, I don't I don't wanna go to the DMV. So that lady from New York, you're right. You got me. I'm too dumb. I'm too dumb to go get that ID. I don't know what it is, dude.
What do you think, Danny?
I mean, when they're saying overreach in what regard? I mean,
just like
you know.
another document or something or another thing you're gonna have to show. And but it's like, well, if you fly it, if you fly internationally, you still got to show a document. Now it's just flying here. It's like you still would have shown your ID. Now it just says real. Like I don't. To me, I don't see too much of the
This is the
hoopla.
way that I see it, is that the ID that we already had should have been sufficient enough, but because they issued
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
one that isn't a legitimate ID for illegal immigrants, just to make their life easier and promote more people to come to this country, because now, hey, you don't have to worry about not driving around. You can drive around in a car, you can own a car, get insurance and be just like a regular citizen.
Hmm.
Now they, in a sense, diluted that ID that should have been sufficient enough for everybody
Yeah.
to where they have to create another ID. Now, as far as the overreach, I mean, they have our information. They know our social security. They know our date of birth. They know where we live. Um,
They better not.
what, I mean, ha, it's just replacing the ID that we used to have that used to be legitimate, and it's no longer legitimate.
Hmm.
Some of us had real Gucci bags,
Well,
and the government started giving out fake Gucci bags.
basically, you're talking about, and it's a problem because we're here in California, so that started happening in 2013. So yeah, 12 years ago, I was close.
I wonder if
Um,
accidents have gone up.
so there's 19 states that give illegal immigrants driver's licenses.
How many of those did Kamala win?
She probably won all the. She probably won all these to see California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota.
That's
She probably didn't
them.
win Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. All of
Oh,
those, all those
it's the gang.
states or territory, whatever, um, they all gave illegal immigrants IDs. So
Mhm.
if you want, if you're wondering, okay, why we need a real ID now? Well, shit, we flooded the we flooded the streets with a bunch of
Fake,
fucking fake IDs
fake China
issued
bags
issued by the government.
issued by the government. Yeah.
Issued
So
by the state.
Now I gotta help you fix it.
yeah,
So
now
this is what they should have done. Okay, so if they, and this is the crazy thing, is that when they did that, they should have kept ours the same. They should have made theirs different
mhm.
to show
I
that.
thought that's what they were doing, Danny. Does it not? We're just not tracking
Well,
these fools.
that's what I
But
mean.
hold on, and I don't know if they made them any different. But if they would have made them different, then the argument would have been that they're getting discriminated against because they're getting something issued different than what the other citizens have.
But you're
Which is
So now
different,
that,
brother.
yeah,
now,
which is crazy. How does that make the people with green cards feel? That's a whole different,
so
a whole
now
different
that they're
card.
gonna come out with the real ID, they're
Holographic.
gonna feel that they're discriminated against because they're not gonna have the real ID.
Yeah,
You never win this argument. You'll never
Yeah,
win it.
it's the snake that eats itself, dude.
yeah, yeah. So well,
China bags.
it's May 7th, and I don't think it's been. I'll confirm that. I don't think it was moved. Went to the real. So yeah, I think it has to be done because 19 states gave illegal immigrants IDs, and then IDs that look just like the ones we have. Um, so you kind of have to at this point. You,
Mhm.
you know, and I don't know. I haven't seen what it looks like if you're an illegal immigrant and you got your driver's license. I would assume your license should say federal limits apply at the top, but
Not mine.
somehow that shit ended up on mine, and I had to go show proof that I was a citizen. You know what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
know. Maybe you guys could check out your license like right after the show or
It says
something.
it. It says it
It
because
says
when I
federal
had to
limits
go
apply.
when I buy ammo, I have to bring that, my and my birth certificate. It's like two, and maybe I don't think it was my social, but it's like a couple because that's what makes the ID, the real ID, pues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I see it. Federal limits apply.
yeah. So that's why. So well, it's a issue that I think they messed up on, and now they got to clean it up, and
Hmm.
you know, because you need ID to fly, but not to vote.
You couldn't have scratched their card a little bit, dent
Well,
the
hey,
side a little bit.
why don't we just kill two birds, one stone? You'd be like, okay, you need a real ID to fly and a real ID to vote. It's already there. Sass. Problem solved.
Mhm.
Thank you. I don't see why not. I don't hear Democrats saying, hey, minorities won't be able to fly from state to state. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So if they get their real ID and they're for that, then real Americans have the real ID, right?
Now I see the overreach. Now I don't want the ID.
It's making too
Now,
much fucking sense.
yeah, now I can't. Now, fuck, I left my fucking ID. Can't fucking fly.
Oh man. But, you know, uh yeah, man. But no, I mean,
Thanks,
you
Obama.
yeah. You guys got any other stories you guys want to hit?
No, I mean, there's there's so much to talk about, but
Yeah.
with this, I think I'm good.
I think Christian wanted to talk about this.
Oh man. Yeah, dude. I don't know who has part of that, but yeah, I saw that there's a little bit of that going on with that dude Luis Ere, something like that.
Hmm.
So apparently, Danny, there the
Before you even start,
This is
I'm
Don't
okay
Mind
with
Us.
that.
This is Don't Mind Us. Go ahead, Christian.
hold on, Danny. Hold on.
The show just transitioned.
No, well, I guess what's going on over there, some guy, one of the guys, one of those Peso Pluma guys, he was having a concert. Those guys are famous for having the narco music, but apparently they're getting pressure from your girl Shine Bomb, and she's telling them like, "Hey, none of that, no more praising narco corridos, none of that." Um, and apparently, someone told us, again, I haven't dove into it, but they said that when they come over here, they're also getting the pressure from the U.S. government saying that don't fucking sing those songs over here, dude. We're gonna take your visa. I don't know how true that is. That sounds like overreach. That sounds a little crazy because just the way rap is. We've got. I don't know. Again, censoring anything is bad. I
Yeah.
don't know, Danny.
Yeah. First Amendment.
You
Um,
know,
If that
and
black lady
Mexico could do it.
if that black
Mexico could
lady
do
can
it.
record her arrests, they can sing
Yeah,
some
man.
corridos.
you could sing whatever you want to sing, and I can listen to whatever I want to listen to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So if I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that, I don't have to.
So
How
so what I'm
Unless
seeing is
unless you live across the street from me and you're bumping it all day long while I'm trying to cut my damn grass.
Brother, this is a HOA. It's 9 p.m. You better turn that off. You better put your trash cans out too because tomorrow's Thursday. They don't come around twice.
Tracas. But no, it is the Mexican government, the one that's pushing the implementing bans on the corridos.
And that's fine because they have a
That's
serious problem out there and they don't got the First Amendment.
they
They can
don't.
do whatever they want. But over
Claudia,
here,
yeah.
yeah.
Here, like you said, they've been kind of in a sense threatening to revoke, But I don't even think America should be threatening because it's music. I get it. People don't. There's a lot of people that don't like rap. People don't like country. People don't like corridos. People don't like. You know what I mean? Like kind of what you said, Danny. It's like you can choose what music you can listen to or not. You know what I mean? If we're forced to listen to all this, then maybe people might have their like, no, maybe we shouldn't
That
be
is
listening to this.
gay.
But you know, I don't even think America should be threatening censorship of music just because of the First Amendment. But we also do get into that, like, well, they're not American citizens. You know what I mean? So it's like, do they have the right to say what they want to sing about here?
Exactly.
You know
And
what I mean?
that's gonna go ahead and make me say the next couple things with my teeth closed because I'm talking through my teeth. That
All right.
Palestinian guy that they took, maybe they shouldn't have taken him. Maybe they shouldn't have taken him after all, and he was just protesting like everybody else, just like you're allowed to do. But you're not a citizen, brother. You got a tippy toe. You got a tippy toe now. So you understand. I understand. Hey, there's a lot of good
Are you
points.
talking about the pro Hamas
Yeah, that
situation?
guy. That guy.
Look,
Not a
there was a
citizen.
good, there was a good analogy, a good example given. Okay, so well, let me put it to you this way: whenever they were doing their interview to get their visa to come over here,
Mhm.
if they would have said their true intentions or their intentions or
Right.
support of a terrorist group, they wouldn't have gotten the visa at that moment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
The reason,
that's what Rubio said. He said, if we would have known your intentions that you were gonna be put vamonos, you would have never got it in the first place.
then someone used the argument, maybe he felt or he or she felt that way at the time of the interview and their opinion changed. It doesn't change anything because you're still on a visa, you're not
Mhm.
a citizen, and if those are your intentions now,
Mhm. Well, I
you're
guess.
gonna chant death to America, and you're in America, and you actually can cause harm.
Brothers
Well,
can't say dead to America no more.
They could chant it as much as they want
you
outside
can,
of America.
And
Christian. You
I
can. You're an
can.
American citizen. You
I
say what the fuck
can.
you want to
Yeah,
say.
you can.
I can.
But look, now it makes
I
me think,
won't.
based on everything we're saying, right? Because a lot of those artists do have visas here, right? They're not citizens. And they did basically uh classify cartels as terrorist groups.
That's also
So
Yeah,
you're
but
kind of
see,
ending up in the same.
but they're not part of the cartel.
Mhm.
They're artists. It's
Mhm.
it's that's what rappers say
But what
too.
if those people that got their visas taken away say, "Well, I'm not part of Hamas. I'm just an
I'm
activist."
just gay. I'm a gay little protester.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, it
Yeah,
could
but
be slippery slope
you could
ish.
only say that so much
Yeah, that's true
after
too.
whatever you're posting, whatever you're showing support for, all the
I
history.
I guess if I had to choose one, it's like, yeah, if you're supporting a group
Get him
that
out of
says
here.
that to America, get out. Now,
Get
if
him
you're
out of
supporting a
here.
group that's maybe glorifying selling drugs, and I mean they're both,
They're all,
I don't
It's
know. It's all
horrible
bad.
music.
Yeah, it's horrible music.
Catchy.
but we have it here too.
I
You
like
make the point.
guitars.
You make the point. Rap is the same thing, dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, at the end of the day, and I know we're gonna sound like old men, is that when you listen to certain words, it imprints images, whether you want it or not, subliminally or literally, and it alters your way of thinking, your state of mind. You might say you like the beat, which I do,
Mhm.
but you catch yourself saying, here, like the first time I actually listened to Little Wayne,
Lavada.
and I was like, the things that this guy is saying is demonic, man. Like only a sick person would come up with lyrics like this.
Mhm.
Mhm. But the bass sounds so nice.
But the bass sounds so nice. And you guys might think that I'm kidding, but back in the day, when you had to buy CDs, I would buy instrumentals. Like I
Mm.
had the Chronic in instrumentals,
Oh, that's a good
some of
one.
Two Shorts in instrumentals, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Because
I,
I don't need to
are you
sound like
sure?
you're an
Are you
old
sure,
man.
Danny? I'm pretty sure for the audience, when Daniel and Danny were listening to rap, when rap was around their time, it sounded like a hip hop, a hippie to the hip hop.
That's a
No,
little bit early for me. But right
Well,
after that,
when we listened to hip hop, they were using words. Nowadays, I don't know what the fuck they're using sounds.
hey, dude,
I don't
for
know.
Young Thug.
But no, I mean it's to each his own, right? If you don't want to listen to that music, you know, corridos or whatever, don't listen to it. If you don't want to listen to rap, don't listen to it. As much as you like it or don't like it, I
You
think
probably
just
shouldn't listen to it.
yeah, just don't listen to it, and then it won't. You know what I mean? It won't gain the traction that it gains. Just whatever. If you like country, just listen to country. You know?
You will almost guaranteed have a better life if you don't listen to rap or
Yeah,
corridos or something like that.
yeah. But
But
you decide. You know what I mean? You have the freedom to decide if that's what you want to listen to or not.
Mhm.
So because then it gets like you said. Right now it's corridos, right? But then it could be rap easily. Then it could be movies.
Yeah.
How many movies or shows glorify that whole narco?
all of them.
There's literally a
Look,
fucking show called Narcos.
Yep. So no more season 3. You throw that out. No more season 3 in Mexico.
Damn, I
look,
wanted the Chapo stories
thi-
too.
this is what I was going to tell you guys from the
Chapo.
very beginning. They're approaching Scheinbaum, or however you pronounce her name,
Mhm.
is approaching this in
She
the
was
wrong way.
He
Jewish.
was Jewish.
Let them play the music as much as they want. Just fix your knuckle problem in your country.
Yeah.
Mhm. Maybe you label them as terrorists too, dude. What the fuck? What you coming at them for, dude? You go at the narcos, dude. The
You're going at
funerals.
the artist instead
Yeah,
of the actual
yeah.
problem.
Go to
Hmm.
the funeral sites,
Because
dude.
the artists are the ones influencing the
Mhm.
criminals. It's the
Yeah.
other way around.
Well, if banning Peso Pluma gets rid of that fucking little circle haircut, you know, so be it. So be it.
Oh god. Well,
She should do that instead.
yeah. Ban the haircut.
And the
That
haircut.
would make more sense. And it'd be easier to enforce.
Yeah. Just cabrón.
Instead of walking around, officers walking around with guns, they're walking around with scissors and clippers.
Mhm.
Clippers.
Get my cut. That haircut.
That's so gay. I hate the haircut,
Get
dude.
my cut.
Different times, dude. Who would have made fun of those kids?
We used to
We
get that
still do.
haircut on
We still
accident,
do.
dude.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was if you messed up, not on purpose.
Damn it.
But no, I mean that's all I got for today. Um, you know, we'll be back next week. Like I said earlier, we're gonna try to get different shows kind of kicking back off, and we'll see who we can get on the show. Talk about different things. Um, I reached out to the CEO of Good Ranchers. I don't know if you guys heard of that company.
Love them.
They
What are
basically
they?
they sell meat. It's
Pause.
like American, just beef, chicken. None of their shit comes from China. Um,
Or Australia.
or
I
none of
hope.
that. No, it's just all American.
I fucking hate
American.
Australian cows.
So wanna get him on. Kind of have a show like what we did with Mark when he was talking about the raw milk and all that. Just kind of get that perspective on that side. Um, and like I said, kick off a new series, and we'll see how it goes. Christian and Gio are doing Don't Mind Us. So, you know, sign up. Again, I know it's a lot, but if you got $1, send it to Christian. But yeah, just, help us grow. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. Other than that, that's all I got. Danny, you got anything to close or anything? Nah?
Peace be with you.
All right, cool. Where's the camera? Peace. Peace. Later.